In athletics news, the road to the 2023 World Track and Field Championships continues for South African athletes, with their sights firmly set on earning back the country's respect at the events in Hungary, following a disappointing campaign in the previous edition. South Africa returned from the last World Championships, which were held in Oregon, USA, without a medal to show for their appearance. One of the athletes determined to earn South Africa's esteem back is US-based sprinter Shaun Maswangayi, whose confidence has been stretched by his recent success, earning the second fastest South African time in a 100-meter dash in the national meeting held in Austin, Texas earlier this month. He's in South Africa for a brief moment. He joins us now. Very good afternoon. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Good to be chatting to you. So it seemed like it was just 3 incredible days for you, not only over the 100, but also over the 200.
Of course. Thank you for having me. And yes, it was a very amazing NCAA championship indeed.
Do you want to tell us what got you to that point?
So obviously the collegiate season is pretty long, as many people know. The season starts from January through the indoor season, which ends in March. And the outdoor, my outdoor campaign starts around about March and ends around about mid-June. We went through the rounds, we went through conference championships, regional qualifiers. So it's quite a lengthy qualification process. And obviously you have to be on top of your game pretty much every meet, especially after conference. So as soon as conference came around, I ran 9.9 and 19.9 same day, but it was slightly wind-aided, so the times didn't count for record purposes. But I still achieved those marks. I knew I was in pretty good shape. And coming from a solid indoor season, I knew that, okay, I just need to keep replicating this performance, and I'm going to find my way in the NCAA final once again. And I know it's anyone's game once everyone is in the final.
Can you tell us about that 991 in at the 100 meters and what it actually felt like? It's not the first time that you've dipped under 10 seconds, but it's certainly the first time that you've been able to go so fast legally.
Oh, yes, of course. So I knew that day it was great sprinting conditions. That's one of the best sprinting conditions I've had in my whole life, especially going through the whole season. The whole season was pretty shaky. There was a lot of horrible conditions. I was running in cold weather, pretty much almost snowing in some meets. But I tried to stay confident and run my own race. When I stood on the line, and I remember the starter, when the starter said, "On your marks," and I literally seen the whole crowd of like 15,000 just get on their feet. I knew that I had to run the race of my life, and I had to come out with a PR to basically bring it home. And, you know, I pretty much executed the first 95 meters of my race. In the last 5 years, I kind of went back into an old habit and leaned a little bit too early, which costed me the gold medal. But overall, just to be in the same company as Akani Simbini in terms of like performance and 100-meter all-time list, it's pretty amazing and it feels pretty special.
What does your coach Carl Lewis say?
Oh, Carl is a special one indeed, because, you know, he was happy for me, but he knew he knew I had the chance to bring it home. And, you know, as much as he's my motivator and he's a father figure outside of track, you know, he still was a little bit hard on me because he knows, he believes in my talents. He believes in my abilities, and he knows I should be NCAA champion. So, you know, we have one more year to actually achieve the title. So obviously our eyes also set on that after this international campaign.
You had a terrible family tragedy last year, losing your brother, who himself was just a young man starting his own life. How difficult has that been, and for your own personal struggles coming back from injury, that you're now in a space mentally and spiritually that perhaps you're enjoying the victories and the work that you're putting in a little bit more?
I would say the most important thing to me was support structure. I had a very great support structure, even outside of family. My coaches were there for me. Coach Leroy Burrell when he was still at UH, Coach Carl himself. I could always lean on people to be there for me if I wanted to talk to them, and, you know, just to have great people around me, motivate me and keep me going. I knew that when I step on the track, I don't only run for myself, but the people who support me, who back me, and pretty much want to go all the way through to see me win in life. So, you know, it's definitely tough to be able to, you know, compartmentalize everything. But in order to succeed in this life, honestly speaking, you always got to compartmentalize. So I had to realize, okay, what's really important to me right now? What would they want me to do? Would they want me to fly back home to be there for the funeral, or do they want me to handle my business here and put the family name and raise it high?
Yeah, and you chose the latter.
Of course, indeed, because I know that's what they would have wanted.
Yeah. So 19.99 is also what you managed to achieve in the 200 meters. Your focus now for the World Championships?
I'm focused on doubling. That's what I've been doing the whole year. Me and Coach Carl always say that in order for me to double the championships, I've got to be able to run 9 and 19. So if I can't do that, then I'm not allowed to double the championships. But he's seen I've been able to produce. I've done it on multiple accounts, so I'm very confident in doubling. And also it allows me to get more races underneath me, because in championships you got to go through rounds. And not many people know how to last through the rounds, and that's why some people can only deliver in one particular heat, and after that they're done. But I feel like I've trained well enough to be able to perform at a high level to go through these rounds. So I'm definitely planning on doubling up.
How is your hamstring at the moment that's held you back after what we thought after 2021 was going to be your breakthrough season? Then your hamstring said, I have other ideas. How is it now?
Well, it was actually last year's World Championship, and it was tough in its own right, but I stayed diligent to my rehab training. I had great physios, great support structure, and I was able to bounce back. Within the next 6 weeks after my injury, I was able to get back running, and I was with the training squad back in Houston, and I knew that, okay, I just got to stay on top of my rehabilitation, stay on top of my nutrition, hydration, and everything is going to follow suit.
What are your hopes for Hungary? Do you believe you can medal for South Africa?
I definitely believe, because me and my coach had, I want to say, goals set aside in the season, because in order for me to medal, I know I need to be running 9.8 low. That's for me to be in contention, and, you know, everything is a step-by-step block. So while it is great to be optimistic to medal, me and my coach obviously had set aside goals. We said, okay, you know, the goal is to make it through the rounds and see how the body feels in the final. And obviously, once you make it in the final, it's anyone's ball game. But I do believe that I'm in great shape, and I feel like I'll be able to perform, and I'll surprise myself. So medal is definitely in the conversation with the times I've ran. But obviously, it's about delivering at championships, and I feel like as I'm getting ready for that, I feel like I have a great chance at doing that.
South African sprinter and also South Africa's second fastest man over 100 meters, Shaun Maswangayi, based in Texas in the USA. Thanks for your time here on Newzroom Afrika.